This is our beginning.
A special woman is arriving this weekend. Very special.
Yes, sir.
My name is not Sir.
There were a lot of things, actually. I thought that it was just a very rich character, in a very, like Biyi was saying, in an extraordinary novel. And I've known Biyi for a long time, and in fact, one of the short films he was talking about, I was in several years ago, and we've been talking about making a film out in Nigeria, and trying to see what that would be, and it was a really great confluence of events that Biyi started adapting Half of a Yellow Sun, and it's a story that I just felt was not only beautiful on the page, but in his adaptation and as well, and just had a very, very deep relevance and resonance with me in terms of not only the story itself, my own family history, and I was just very excited to come on board and tell the story tell the story from this perspective of Adenabo, who's this really conflicted character and this very multi-layered person. Who is very prone to making mistakes and trying to figure his way out of them. And I felt just a very exciting person to go on this kind of journey with, somebody who even in the nature of is learning so much about himself and the people around him, even in the nature of this extraordinary conflict that's going on. It was great, actually. It was... it was everything. It was a lot of the things that I think we talked about. Just to try and make a really passionate film that had a bit of a larger scale than a lot of the films that are made in Nigeria, but really try and get in touch with the absolute beauty of the country that that we've always known, but haven't been able to represent on film as much as we wanted to. So in this experience, really just sort of getting that out there and being out there with all of the challenges that being that there was, especially in the very remote areas that we were filming in. But for me, it was always a story that needed to reflect as well that the village communities in Nigeria took so much of the brunt of the civil war, and so much of the sort of crushing of Biafra happened in those communities, and the Nigerian forces absolutely directly attempted to do that and take the fight, village to village. And so being in these very rural places, was a real way of, I thought, just telling that story. It felt completely correct to be away from the slightly more industrialized part of Nigeria, which would have made for a slightly more comfortable shooting experience, no doubt. But I think it really captures something very genuine in the film, very beautiful.
I basically got interested in film about 20 years ago when I wrote a screenplay that was directed by Danny Boyle. I wasn't that much interested in film at the time, or TV, but as a result of that collaboration with Danny, I got commissioned to write screenplays which were directed by other people, and I very quickly realized that not everybody was a Danny Boyle, that I'd been exceptionally lucky to work with him. And I found also that with many TV and film directors, they're quite intimidated by actors. And because my background is theatre, I'm actually quite experienced with working with actors. I learned to direct actors from working in theatre. And after working with like the third or fourth director while I was working with them, and watching them work with actors, I kept thinking, I can do this much better. I just then made the decision to actually to start. Well, first of all, I started directing a lot more theatre, and then I did some shorts, and it was a long journey. But I'm actually glad it took that as long as it took, because when we then made Half of a Yellow Sun, I was ready.
And why Half of a Yellow Sun?
Because it's a great book, and also because it had all these characters, African characters, that I'd never seen on the big screen before. Usually when I go to the cinema to watch a movie that's ostensibly about Africa, it turns out that it's about a white person who's gone to Africa to save Africans. It's always a white character around whom everything happens, and then the African characters I just beat characters. I mean, there's a place for that kind of movie, but I felt that it was important also that we be able to actually go to the cinema and see movies about ourselves that really are about us. And the characters in Chimamanda's book provided that opportunity.
I'm going to do a film with John Hillcoat called 999.
I'm looking at 3 different film projects and talking to various producers.